this is from a question from last week around having a blog, one of the members having a blog and having actually quite good traffic coming to the blog. I think 20,000 unique monthly views, having a list of about 5,000 people, really focusing on Pinterest as a traffic source to bring people to the blog. And the blog is beautiful. The website is beautiful, just for context for anyone who is catching up on this as well. And then having kind of a store of digital products. And so the main question was around, they're not selling anymore. And how do we kind of pick that up again? So I made a bit of a checklist just before we started. And I want to just go over this. If you are doing any kind of content, if you have any kind of offers available, this will be relevant for you. You just need to exchange the words that are, whatever your pillar content is, whatever your main thing you're doing is. So you may not have a blog, but you might have a podcast, or you might be focusing on Instagram right now, or you might have a community. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. If you have a community, it's like we're not thinking of these things as all separate things. They are all part of your ecosystem, whether it's your community, whether it's your pillar long form content, whether it's your short form social media content, your emails, whatever that might be. These are all part of one ecosystem. So with this one, I'm going to use the example of blog to digital products because that was the conversation that we had. But like I said, it could be podcast to one-on-one offer. It could be YouTube videos to book, whatever it might be. It doesn't matter. This will be relevant for you. And again, if you want some more context for your own unique situation, please come into the group, pop it in the Q&A thread, and we'll be able to do that too. This is one of my favorite things to do because I always forget that this is not something that everyone knows about. So let's dive into that. The first thing that I would recommend for anyone who has existing content, because I know that I have 11 years worth of blog content and probably 5 years worth of YouTube videos, a heap of podcast episodes. I think we're up to episode 52 or something on the podcast. And we just kind of create it and put it out into the world and then get on to the next thing, right? Especially when you're a solopreneur, every week I'm doing a YouTube video and a podcast episode, and it's so easy to just create that, put it up, let people know that it's there, and then start thinking about next week's content. So this is how we can create an ecosystem where all of our content has a purpose and can continue to be recycled so we don't have to be creating so much. This is my initial content ecosystem kind of strategy, and I'm just sort of in the process of updating that, but this is a really good opportunity to give you an example of how to make this work for you. So if you have been creating content for any amount of time, even if it's been a week, I would love for you to start a database or essentially like a spreadsheet, basically, a Notion board, whatever you want to use, a Trello board, Asana, whatever your thing is. Make a list of your content. So you want to have, the name of the title of the piece of content or the main theme, the category or the pillar that it fits into, the format that it's in, and what your call to action was on it, what the description was, and a link to that original piece of content. Even if you just start with that, that is going to mean that over time, if you add something every single time you create it, over time, you're going to be able to see the bigger kind of body of your work. And you will be able to see opportunities to repurpose that content. You'll be able to see how you can link one blog post to other blog posts, which is really good for your SEO and for keeping people on your website reading your posts. And it is going to show you what everything is leading towards. Now, over time, it would be even better if you created then other cells in your table for tracking what got, the best views, like what views did you get for the month, what likes, comments, shares, etc. Because that is going to help you so much to see what is connecting with your audience, what they resonate with. And it's going to mean hey, I should share this post every 3 months. And, oh, wow, I got heaps of sales from this one post, even though it didn't get as much engagement as my other ones did. So this is part of the cozy growth pillar of the framework, that we want to always be looking for ways that we can tweak, improve, repurpose, and evergreen everything that we're doing so that over time, we don't have to just keep creating stuff. And in the example of this exact blog, there is already a heap of amazing existing content on there. So this is definitely what I would recommend everyone to start to do. Create a database of your content. So in this case, all the blog post content, even the Pinterest pins that it links to, so that you can keep track of which pins work the best with your audience and on Pinterest. And also do a quick review as you're collecting all of those links to see, are these posts all leading to something? If your main business offer is a digital product store, you want to make sure that every piece of content you're creating relates to one of those pieces of content. So for example, say you were doing a post about, a end of year reset, and you have a end of year reset planner and goal setting journal for next year, and it's a bundle, it's 2 digital products, you would obviously write the post, include that in there, maybe do a post about the start of year as well. So you have 2 posts that essentially could be evergreen, and every year you could update them and reshare them instead of writing a new post every year. And you want to make sure they all have a call to action. If you've got a store and you've got a bunch of products, even if you only have 1 or 2 offers, always be looking for, is there an opportunity here where I can let people know what that next step is? And you don't have to do a big sales pitch at the end. You can literally just link in your content, use a word that relates to the offer and link that content. You also, when you have a database of your existing content, can see where you can link to a related post, because if someone has come through to your blog post from Pinterest, say, and they really enjoyed your article on, I don't know, organizing your wardrobe, and then you have a post about like building a capsule wardrobe, you link that, you're going to then give an opportunity for people to stay longer on your site. And that is so good for your SEO. And so you want to look for opportunities. Where can I link existing content? What content could I link here if it existed, which is going to help you to decide what you want to create next? And also, is there an offer or product that relates to this? And again, if you don't have that, there is an opportunity for creating that as well. So that is kind of the bare bones of just what to do if you've already got pre-existing content. If you've got offers, you want to make sure that you're creating a mock-up graphic for them, because digital products by definition do not have a tangible feel to them. So it is, again, our responsibility to make sure that we are making something tangible. I'm just going to show you. This is the Cozy Business Common Room one. It looks more tangible than just like, come and join my community, right? You can see there are planners and things in here. There are journals. There is stuff happening. It gives it just so much more context for people, and they can see that this digital product is actually a thing. I'm not just buying nothing. And even in 2025, and probably more so in 2025, we need to make sure that we're creating these so that people can really see that they're buying something and they can see what's inside. It's the easiest way to do it. Okay, so that is your first steps for anyone who has existing content, has existing products. You want to just go back and do this first before you really start focusing on anything else, because this is more of your ongoing next steps. Focus on just getting this part done first. And you can build it out slowly. If you have, like me, 11 years worth of blog post content, you're probably not going to do that all in 1 hour or 1 day. Just even start with today. What did I create today? And you start with today. And then if you have a low energy day, you can go back and do a bit of a review backwards. But I would be thinking, this is how I structure my day. I create 1 piece of content a day. So I would be going, okay, I've got a year's worth of blog posts that I haven't really done anything with. Instead of creating new content every day for the next, 52 days, I am going to focus on going back to one piece of content I've already created and going through this review, updating it, and then promoting a post that already exists. That's what I would do before I created anything else. And then start to also see what categories does this fall into. So I know we talked in last week's call about not worrying too much about content pillars, but it still helps to kind of categorize them if you can. These are the 4 main things that I talk about, and having then a little bit of content and an offer for each of those pillars. Then this is your core content workflow, because the next part of the question from last week was, I have a list of 5,000 people and I email them maybe once a month because I'm worried about people unsubscribing. I understand it is everyone's thing, especially when you're just starting out, but what we want to do, and I emphasized this last week as well, is we want to only have people on our list who are engaged and aligned and love our stuff. And so the more emails you send, yes, the more unsubscribes you're going to get, but also guess what? The more sales you will get too. It just happens every time I do it. Every time I do a promotion and I send a bunch of emails in a week, guess what? I make more sales. So I know that for many of us is not necessarily what our main focus is. We don't want to do that every week, but it is the truth. If you send a weekly email, especially if you have a pretty significant list size, if you've got 20 people on your list, don't worry so much about that. Focus more on content that brings people to your list. But if you've got over 1,000 people, for sure, you want to be really focusing on nurturing those people and continuing to remind them that you have things that they are looking for. So this is the way that I would do it. I would focus on, maybe if you've got a whole heap of existing content, creating still just one blog post a month, one new post a month that highlights one of the offers in your store. And as soon as that post goes up, you email your list and let them know that it's there. And maybe you have a special, hey, this is a brand new offer, or I'm just, doing a flash sale on this offer for this week. If you grab it today or in the next 48 hours, use this code, or it's currently marked down so that you can grab this. This is a really, really good way to bring people to the blog, get them to check something out, and also highlight one of the offers as your feature for the week. And also, whether you're doing, again, YouTube, podcast, blog post, you want to email your list as soon as that goes live, because that is what the algorithms, they know that a post or a video or an episode is doing well, the more people who listen to it in like the first hour. So make sure that you get, and it's like such an easy opportunity. You'll see now that I do this every single time I post content. I send an email. Hey, I just posted this. Hey, this is something that I'm talking about on the podcast this week. Do that, because the people on your email list are your inner circle people. They are the most likely going to go and check out your new content. And so make sure you tell them about it. And then make sure you create at least 2 opportunities on your social media to let people know it exists, because they might not be on your email list. They might have missed the email. I will post it also in my community. Hey, come and check it out, because I know that everyone in the common room is going to be most likely the people who are going to go and watch that. I also know that most of the time, the video I've created, the podcast, is relevant to a conversation that we've been having in the group. And so it's also the most relevant for those people too. So please, please, please make sure you're doing this. If you're creating any kind of long form content, every time you post, you send a quick email, and it doesn't have to be a big, long email. You can literally, you've been maybe seeing the ones I've been testing out lately that are just a couple of sentences, a bit of context, listen here. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be hard. And if people unsubscribe, it just means they're not interested, and you don't want them on your list anyway. You don't want to pay for them to be on your list anyway. Then what I would focus on is every week going and looking. So this would be the ratio that I would probably do, because you want Google to see you have fresh content going out every week, or at least every month. Create 1 new blog post and then go back and update 3 old ones. This is going to be relevant for whoever, like wherever you're at. If you have a lot of content, this would probably be the ratio I'd go with. If you've got maybe 6 months of content, I would do 2 new posts and then go back and update 2 old posts, and then resend it to your list. So new blog post, highlight an offer in the post. Maybe you have you've bundled something together. You're doing a special flash price for anyone who signs up today or in the next 2 days. and you send that email, let people know that it's there. People will take action because they're like, oh, I get a discount. I get a bundle. It's so much more interesting. For those of us who have evergreen offers, we need to keep bringing those to life. We need to keep letting people know that they exist. And then update one old post. Again, send an email to your list, highlight an offer. Email your list every week, and especially at the size that you're at, 5,000 subscribers, you want to be emailing your list at least once a week. And then this is kind of next step, creating 1 to 3 social media posts for each piece of content, because long form content covers usually a number of topics within it that you can break down into bite-sized pieces and then direct people back to read the full post. So that is how I think about it. And that is going to be different for everyone. Pinterest is really easy because you just have to create the pins and that links people back. But I would also be thinking about maybe Instagram as well, especially for kind of a lifestyle mindset, personal development website like this one. And then the third section is thinking about your digital products, because it is so easy to just throw stuff up on our website and have it as a store and be like, oh, why aren't people buying? We need to create those pathways. We need to have that customer journey. People find you from Pinterest. They find you from Google. They find you from Instagram. And then they come to your blog. They're interested in the theme or topic of the blog. Now we need to show them why this next step could be helpful for them. So if you just have a storefront that doesn't have sales pages attached to your products, that is fine. But also we need to remember that marketplaces like Etsy exist and do this too. They don't necessarily have a full sales page, although if you go and look at Etsy, if you're selling digital products and you go and look at Etsy, you'll even just see the way that Etsy store creators highlight and showcase their digital products. And you basically want to replicate that in your online store on your site. The difference is that you have the context of your long form content to basically do the selling for you. So talking about, say you're talking about daily journaling, and you have a daily journal digital offer that you have in your store. You talk about the importance of daily journaling. You tell a little story about how daily journaling has really helped you and what the difference has been for you that you have seen from this practice. And then that's why I created my daily journal practice. It is a $7 offer, and it is available in my store over here. And this is everything that you get inside of it. If you're looking to start your own daily practice and you don't know where to start, this is a perfect starting place for you. If you don't want to grab that, you can just use a normal journal, so we're not like necessarily doing a huge big sales pitch. We're just saying, if you're here reading this post, you're obviously interested in this topic. Here is something that will help you to get started or to implement or to take action or to move faster or to not get overwhelmed and overthink it. I've created a solution for you. So that is what makes us different as business owners versus being content creators, being product businesses, or like digital product businesses. We're bringing it all together. We're adding context, we're adding stories, we're showing people why we created this, and that just then creates so much more understanding behind why do I need this and why should I buy it now. So again, you don't need to go and change everything straight away. These are just some small tweaks that I'd recommend for anyone who is doing this. If you have only a couple of products, it is really worth having a proper sales page for it. It doesn't have to be long, but especially if you wanted to run ads and have cold traffic coming to it, having just the features, the benefits, the mock-ups and everything is just going to elevate it that little bit more. But for most of us, we don't necessarily need that, especially if your content is doing most of the heavy lifting. You'll see that a lot of my digital products, I just send people to a Thrive Cart checkout because I'm letting my Instagram posts, my emails, my long form content do the heavy lifting. And then it's just like, hey, if you want to grab it, it's over here. So hopefully that gives you some context for that as well. Again, that mock-up is going to really show people what they're paying for, what they get, what's inside. And it does take a little bit of time. It takes practice to kind of get used to it and kind of get good at it, make them look beautiful. But honestly, you can go to Canva and you can search mockup, and there are templates in there that you can just drop your screenshots of your offer into, and then that is enough. It just, instead of just having a cover that's like, well, what is that? Creating a little mock-up so people can see what they're getting when they buy it. And that just takes me to, I know some people in the group are using PLR, which is private label, right? So I always get it the wrong way around. So PLR is basically, you might have seen it, and then MRR. So MRR is, oh my gosh, all I can hear is monthly recurring revenue in my head. MRR means that you can buy a template and then you can sell the template as a template. PLR means you can buy a template and then you can kind of customize it, rebrand it, and then sell it so say you can buy a journal template, you reskin it, you rebrand it, and then you sell it as a journal. MRI, master resale rights, remembered it, means that you can buy a journal template and then you can sell it as a journal template. So just for anyone who's sort of unfamiliar with that terminology, if you're using PLR, you want to make sure that you're reskinning it, that you're making it look like your branding and you're making it fit in with your business, so that when people go from your beautiful website to your store, it all makes sense and everything kind of fits within the aesthetic that you've created with your branding. So I see this so much. And again, if you go on Etsy and you search something like dream journal or goals journal or anything like that, you will see all the PLR on there, because people just want to get products up quickly. So they just slap up the original, like unbranded version, and you'll see like, oh, this is the same, these are the same Instagram templates that I saw like 3 pages ago. The best thing that you can do so that you're not competing with those people who are competing on price, they're just slapping stuff up, putting it at the lowest price so that people are just choosing the lowest price offer, realizing they're getting the same thing. Rebrand it and make it fit in with the aesthetic of your brand and business. That is so important, because if you aren't doing that, I know it's a little bit of extra time and effort, but it means you're competing with all the people who are selling PLR on Etsy. And that is, like I said, a race to the bottom. It's who's got the cheapest price available today, because people just want the journal. They just want the offer, and they're going to just pay for the cheapest version of that. So it takes a little bit more time, but we also want to really highlight that, hey, I've got this new journal available this week. It's going to be $17. But this week it's $7. So if you grab it this week, you can get a massive introductory price, launch price. And here I wrote a blog post about why I created it. So we're giving context, we're creating brand, we're creating a reason why these products exist and how they fit within the context of our blog post, of our website, of our digital product business, as a blogger, as a content creator. So I hope that helps. Also, again, you'll probably want to create, this is something I've been talking to one of my Imagine Expand members about all year, actually probably longer than that, to create a database for your offers so that you know what you have. When you sit down to write a new post, you go, these are my 4 categories. What is my highlighted offer that I'm going to focus on this week? And so what is the post that I'm going to write that leads to that? Or I'm writing this post about this because that's what I want to talk about this week. Do I have an offer that I can link in there? Do I have blog posts I've already created that I can link as related posts in there as well? Keeps people in your ecosystem. And then if you just add something like once a week when you're sending your email out, you highlight one of your offers and you do a special deal on it, or you bundle it with something else, it just adds that little bit of extra energy behind evergreen stuff that's on your site all the time. So hopefully that is helpful. And I'll talk quickly about this actually. The advanced step from that is to then turn your blog posts into the bite-sized social media posts, and then having that call to action for every post that you create either leads back to one of the products in your store that's relevant to the social media post, or leads back to the blog post that you wrote. So again, we're bringing people from another platform over to check out our products, our store, and our long form content. So I hope that gives you some ideas. I will pop this in the group so that that's actually there. And again, you don't have to do everything today. This is just a starting point, and it just gives you an idea of like how I would what I would be doing if I had that situation, which I do have, but it's just not my priority right now, and what I would do with that. And again, whatever kind of content, whatever kind of offers you have, this is a really like sort of simple starting point to be constantly repurposing, keeping people in your ecosystem, and always thinking about how to highlight one of the amazing offers that you have, because you put the time and energy in. Make sure that you make the most of it. Oh my gosh, I was looking at the Cozy Business Quest sales page that I created like 2 years ago, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such a beautiful sales page. I would have spent so much time on it and then never did anything with it, never promoted it. So please learn from my mistakes. This is just not me on my high horse. This is just, I've learned so much over the years, and always looking at ways, how can I do this differently? How can I do this better? And I hope that that really helps you as well.